Hello everybody, how's it going? It's me Martin, and I'm here doing a boss ranking for Dark Souls. Something I never thought I was going to get to, but here I am. Now the thing with this game, it's great, but it's got like 26 bosses, like including the DLC, and I want to get through all that in one video, so that's a lot. Which means we're jumping right into it with the worst boss of Dark Souls. Now, the thing with Dark Souls is while I really like the game, it has a huge amount of really terrible bosses, and nothing is worse than number 26, the Bed of Chaos. This is a boss that just has nothing good for it, and is completely awful. The floor beneath you breaks everywhere. It's really hard to get to the weak points you gotta get to like hit it and get it through its phases. It's constantly trying to hit you into those holes. It's super annoying. There's so much happening, and it's just so annoying to get through. It sucks. That's why it's the worst boss, without a question, without a doubt. The Ceaseless Discharge at number 25 is nothing like the Bed of Chaos. It's super easy and just super boring. He will attack with like super slow attacks. He also feels unfinished as he has only really one attack, which is like an arm slam where he leaves that arm hanging there for like a bunch of seconds for you to hit it. And that's it. There's nothing else to the boss fight. So yeah, number 25. At number 24 is the Stray Demon. Now, I like how this boss surprises you by having you just fall into its arena, and that's the one positive I have, because I hate this fight. It's a reskin of the first boss fight, and it has so many unnecessary AoE attacks that force you to stay off of it and run away, and are just so annoying to deal with. So this is just a massive downgrade over like the first boss of the game, and so that's why it sucks. The Demon Fire Sage at number 23 is another reskin of the first boss of the game, but unlike the Stray Demon, it doesn't have AoE attacks, which means it's better, and that's all I have to say. At number 22, we have the Moonlight Butterfly. Now, this is a really horrible boss, but one thing I will give it, I really like the soundtrack though. It's all really great. I really enjoy that part. But the fight itself is just a bunch of boring waiting on this bridge while it shoots slow attacks at you until it finally comes down so you can wail on it a little bit before going back up. It's so boring. And at number 21 is Gravelord Nito. Now, my first and second playthrough, I hated this guy, because he's really annoying, and now I just think he's below average. He is such a simple and easy fight, but to counter this, they put so many skeletons in his arena. It's so annoying to freaking fight him. The one thing I give him is it's kind of a really fun... It's not really fun. It's a slightly fun challenge to overcome such a giant, like, challenge, and that's the only thing I'm giving it. And at number 20 is Pinwheel, which is the joke of Dark Souls. He is so easy, he dies in like 6 hits. He flies around, he spawns copies of himself, sometimes throws magic spells, but it's just so easy to like kill that he's really like unmemorable, but he's at least not bullshit or super annoying, so he's better than the previous 6 fights, and so I'll give him that. And now at number 19, we have finally reached the last bad boss of the game. At number 19 is the Centipede Demon. Now, I don't hate this fight, like a lot of people really dislike it. I think it's below average. I think there's a really neat idea here where you knock off its tail and then like you kill the centipede that falls off to get the orange charred ring, which lets you actually move around the arena normally and fight it normally. The fight itself is super easy once you get this ring, but otherwise it's really weird to have this arena filled with lava where you have to bait it to your land. But yeah, it's not horrible, I'll give it that. And we finally start getting to some decently good fights, and at number 18 we have the Iron Golem. Now, I don't think this is specifically good, I think it's quite a decent fight. What really boosts it up for me is the fact that you can knock him off. Overall, it's very easy to go in between his legs and avoid most of his attacks, even though he is an alright fight and he can even grab below his feet, so there's a way to counter that. But you can knock him off the tower, or he can knock you off the tower, and that, I think, just adds something to the fight, and I really like that. And at number 17 is the Capra Demon. Now, most people consider this to be a pretty bad boss fight. A lot of people really don't like it and think it's kind of bullshit. And I do understand, like, the perspective. You're trapped in, like, this really small arena with this boss with large, heavy attacks. And he has also two dogs, like, chasing you down. And I agree that it's unfair. But I also kind of like overcoming such a ridiculous challenge, running in quickly, trying to overcome this whole mess. And once you actually kill the dogs and it's just a one-on-one fight, it's very fun to fight like the Capra Demon. Dodge his sword attacks and get some attacks in of your own. So I actually like this fight. And at number 16 is the Gaping Dragon. Now, I think this fight is quite decent. I like it. I think it's enjoyable enough. It maybe lasts a little too long, but the thing that really boosts this boss is just the design. It looks so cool, and like I think it's maybe one of the best like designs of like a monster or boss in this game. It just looks awesome. The fight itself, you know, it's got like swipes and some of its attacks do way too much damage. The fight lasts too long, but overall, I think it's a decent fight. And at number 15, we have Crossbreed Priscilla. Now, this boss is different, and I like it for different reasons than normal. What's cool is that it's a very interesting lore character, and also, you're not forced to fight her. She asks you to leave, and you can without fighting her, and that's really cool, and I like that. And also, in the middle of her fight, if you do decide to fight her, she turns invisible, and you have to find her footprints in the snow. I think that's really neat. The problem is the fight is super simple, and I think it is like that because of the invisible mechanic. And so that drags the fight down, obviously. And now, we finally get to the good bosses, because at number 14 is Sif the Scaleless. Now, I think this fight is a good amount of fun. I think it's at least a little challenging, but it's nothing too incredible or high up there. She puts down crystals all around the arena with her lasers, and you mostly just have to avoid them. And she can also swat you with her, like, tentacle thingies. And it's not a challenging fight, but it is quite a fun fight, and I think it deserves to be said that it is a good fight. And at number 13 is the first boss of the game, the Asylum Demon. Now, looking at it, it is a pretty simple and easy, decent fight, but it deserves some more credit because it is the first boss of the game, and I like the whole idea around it. You don't have a weapon when you encounter it, which means you have to run away, and then you find a shield, you find a sword, and you come back, but you have the high ground, so you land down on it, doing some extra damage, and then finishing it off, and escaping the early dungeon of the game. It all feels super good for like this early in the game, and because of that, I really like this fight. Now, at number 12, we have Dark Sun Gwendolyn. Now, what I really like about this boss fight is how you get to it. It's a secret boss fight. After killing a very important NPC, the golden land of Anorlando turns dark, with nights all around it that you're forced to fight. And eventually you get to Dark Sun Gwendolyn, who lore-wise is a very interesting figure in the lore of Dark Souls. And the fight itself, I think, is also pretty good. It's unique, it's interesting. You have this huge hallway that never ends, and he's on like a decent distance from you, shooting magic spells and all of that. And you have to run up to him, avoiding all of these things, smack him a couple times, he teleports back, and repeat. It's not the most incredible fight ever, but it is a solid, fun fight that's also pretty unique like nothing else. And I like everything around it that really builds up this fight. And at number 11, we have the Taurus Demon. Now, after defeating the Asylum Demon and going through the Undead Burg, you come face to face with the second boss of the game, the Taurus Demon. And I think this is a solid step up over the Asylum Demon. He's a little bit more complex, and he's way more challenging. This is where Dark Souls really like steps into the challenge, and fighting this guy is quite tricky. and he's fast, and he's got really heavy damaging moves, and you don't have too much space to move. I find it to be a very fun fight, and you also have the ladder over on the tower that you can use to get extra damage on him. And so there's ways to counteract this boss fight, and it's just overall really fun, a really great step up. And now we finally get into the top 10, and starting it off, we have Chaos Witch Quelaag. Now I have some problems with this boss, so let me get those out of the way. The fight might last a little too long, the AoE attack is annoying, and this boss can really restrict your movement with the lava that it spits out. But other than that, it's a very fun fight, dodging all its attacks. It's solidly challenging at this point in the game where it should be. The sword attacks are a lot of fun to dodge. And even the lava that I complain about, like, restricting your movement isn't in a technically bad. Like, it requires you to be wary of where you're standing and to be careful all the time. This is just a really great, challenging, fun fight, and it's perfect for where it is in the game. And at number 9, we have the Four Kings. Now, the Dark Souls community is kind of split on what they think of this boss fight. Some people don't really like it that much, while other people think it's one of the best fights in the game. I think it's one of the best fights in the game. I have a lot of fun dodging the Four Kings attacks, and it's also kind of like a speed rush. I have to quickly annihilate all of them before more come. But the thing I don't like about this fight is, first of all, you can't take your time. You have to really rush it. And also the spell attacks, the magic attacks, the AoE explosions, all of that is really annoying to deal with. And there's some moves that are just complete time wasters. And because this boss is like a speed rush you have to quickly go through, having those kinds of attacks really annoy the shit out of you. But dodging the sword attacks and all of that is just a huge amount of fun. It's solidly challenging. The black abyss you fight in is really cool, and I just really like this fight. And at number 8 is Black Dragon Calamy. Now what's neat about this boss fight is the first time you encounter it, you're meant to die, and then you find an NPC, and the NPC helps you weaken the boss, and you come back to kick its ass after it killed you. I like that already. The problem I have with this boss fight is some of the hitboxes are really off, but overall, it's a really fun fight, and if the hitboxes were better, then it would be even higher. It would be like one of the top best bosses of this game, but it's not there. It has a lot of cool fire attacks, a lot of neat ways to move. It's probably the most challenging fight in the game, in my opinion, and it's not helped by those hitboxes being so shitty. So if the hitboxes weren't as bad, this would be one of the best. But right now, it's at number 8. And at number 7 is Great Grey Wolf Sif. Now, I think, judging this fight just based off the boss fight itself, it should be way lower. The fight is very simple and very easy. You dodge the sword attack, get under it, attack a little bit, it jumps away, and it's kind of just repeating that. But what makes this boss fight stand out is just how memorable of a fight it is. Like, even after I finish this game, I still remember this fight, because it's a sad fight. All he's trying to do, Sif, is protect his owner's grave, and you need a ring from it, so you're forced to fight him. And even at the end of the boss fight, he's like limping towards you because he's so injured. And you know, the fight itself is easy, but it is still a good amount of fun. So because of all of that, I do really remember this boss fight and really think of it as a great boss fight. And at number 6 is the final boss of the game, Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. Now, this boss gets a bunch of points just off the bat, like lore-wise. Gwyn has a lot of interesting lore about him, and the emotions going into the final boss fight, as well as the amazing music that accompanies this boss fight, all of that just elevates this fight. But the fight itself, I think it's also really great. It's a lot of fun dodging his fire attacks. He's quite challenging. He's maybe not challenging enough, but at other times his sword attacks are way too aggressive and get annoying, and the run back to this boss is also quite a nuisance. So because of all of that, it's kind of like, I don't know, like, if I feel like super strongly, like, he's just barely out the top 5, because I feel like he just misses the mark with the balance between his how aggressive he is and how challenging he is. But it's an amazing fight. And at number 5 is the third boss of the game, the Bell Gargoyles. Now this is where Dark Souls really starts. The Asylum Demon was good, the Taurus Demon was an improvement in many ways, but the Bell Gargoyles are a real fun challenge. First, you got this one Bell Gargoyle who's challenging. He's a tough fight. He's got some really cool moves. You can even cut off his tail to get a really nice weapon. It's a great fight. You're having a lot of fun. And all of a sudden, when his health bar reaches half, a second gargoyle jumps down. Who, thankfully, that second gargoyle has half health, which is nice balancing. But it makes it a really crazy duo fight where you have to really decide when you want to go in and get some attacks in, and when you want to back out and like leave the boss alone for a second to heal or whatever, or wait to see what attack it does next. It's a really great balance and truly like the first really great boss fight of this game. And at number 4 is the Sanctuary Guardian. Now this is the first boss of the game, which this is the second boss I'm covering. The first one was Calamite, who I had some problems with and I said was the hardest boss. Sanctuary Guardian is like, you don't even go through a level and fight it. It's just like right out of the gate, this is the first thing you fight in the DLC. And it is a challenge. It's a challenge thrown right at you. It's fast, it's quick, it's hard to hit. It does quite a good amount of damage. But to balance it out, it doesn't have too much health. But it is still a really challenging fight. And I always really enjoy tackling this fight. It's just this incredible dance. It's like so hard to finish. But like once you get like the right balance and like you're able to dodge enough attacks and get enough hits in, you finally beat it and you feel so satisfied to then finally be able to start this DLC. And at number 3 is the legendary duo themselves, the best boss in the OG Dark Souls, Ornstein and Smo. Now anyone who knows Dark Souls knows about these two because they're talked about as being one of the best like duo fights in any video game. They are that good. You have Smo, who's this big, giant, heavy brute with a hammer. And then you got Ornstein, which is like this light fighter with a spear that's really quick. And it's like they balance themselves out. So like slow, heavy, and like quick, and like not too heavy. And you can really separate Ornstein from Smo by going far away and hoping Ornstein charges towards you and trying to get as much damage as you can before Smo joins up. Because trying to fight both of them head on is never a good idea. You also have pillars that you can stand behind to heal or help like separate them too. Sometimes Smo will get in Ornstein's way, letting you separate the two. There's just a lot of opportunities to try to get damage in, and you're really running around this arena trying to find these opportunities, because this is such a hard fight. Like, this is one of those fights that even when, like, coming back to the game, I'm not sure if I can beat it in less than 10 tries. It's that hard, and it's just an amazing fight. And on top of all of that, once you defeat one of them, the second one will absorb the first one who you killed and become even powerful and stronger. Meaning that there's 2 second phases and you can get either one. It's such a cool idea, and it just works to make such a memorable, unforgettable fight. And totally the peak of this game. And at number 2 is Manus, Father of the Abyss. Now this boss is amazing in so many ways. He is quick, he is aggressive, he is super challenging, and it's the conclusion of this DLC, and he is just such a great fight. He is very interesting lore-wise, like being like the ruler of the Abyss or whatever, and being the one who corrupted Artorias. And the fight is great. Maybe the one thing I don't like too much is the magic. It's solidly fun to dodge, but at times it can get a little bit annoying. But it's not that bad. And it doesn't ruin what would be either way. It's such an incredibly amazing fight. So, what makes Knight Artorias number 1? Well, I think he's basically just as good as Manus, but like thinking about which one I'd prefer fighting again, I'd have to say it's Artorias. He's just super quick, super fast, super fun to fight. He has these crazy sword attacks that are just so much fun to dodge and avoid, and he's just the perfect challenge to overcome. I'm happy whenever I'm fighting him and having so much fun. The fight is getting harder as it goes on, and he keeps like killing me, and I keep having to fight him over and over, and I'm happy that I have to, because I want to keep fighting him. It's sad when you eventually beat him. He is undoubtedly the best boss of Dark Souls. He is fantastic. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do, I hope I'll see you on the next one. Anyways, this will be it all. Adios, and see you on the next Latino Epic Gaming video. Adios, amigos.